This is Chapter 2 of Bloodbag. 12 years ago. I have to go. I'll be back soon. I promise, the fourth Hokage spoke to his wife, Kushina Uzumaki, as he kissed her on the forehead. Just before he could activate his flying Raijin, Kushina called out to him. Wait! He paused before running back towards her bedside. Minato, it's a girl. The Yondaime was shocked. They had been certain. They had been so certain their child would be born a boy that they had already decided on a name, Naruto. Kushina suddenly coughed blood, and the fourth Hokage began to panic. She was dying. He knew, whether he would admit it or not, that his beautiful, gorgeous, wonderful, perfect wife was not going to make it. It's okay, Minato. We can just change the name slightly. We can call her Naruko. Minato knew, deep down, that he would have fought her tooth and nail over this. It took them forever and loads of arguing to finally decide on the name Naruto, and he knew this would have been no exception. Naruto would most certainly not be the name they settled on, but they didn't have the time. They didn't have that luxury. He accepted it without hesitation. Yes, our little Naruko-chan. He smiled with tears falling from his eyes. To Minato, it was the most beautiful name he had ever heard of. 1 minute. 1 single minute. That's how much longer Minato Namikaze stayed in that room with his dying wife than he would have had Naruto been born a boy. 1 single minute. Everything changed. The third Hokage was the one to seal the Kyuubi into the small, newly born child. The sealing took place 5 minutes sooner than it should have. 5 less minutes of chaos the Kyuubi could cause. 5 less minutes of people dying. Had Minato shown up a single minute sooner, the third Hokage would not have begun preparations for the sealing. Had the third himself not have begun the preparations, the fourth would have done so alone, never stopping to speak with the third. Upon arrival, the fourth Hokage quickly spoke with the third. A consensus was made. A child was chosen to become the Kyuubi's next jailer. The third Hokage would do the sealing. The fourth was still needed for Konoha and for Naruto. 1 single minute would lead to a conversation between the two elite shinobi. 1 single conversation that would reshape destiny. As Minato Namikaze rocked his daughter, he couldn't help his wandering thoughts. He thought of Kushina, the woman he loved, and how she left the world. He thought of little Naruto, and how she would grow without a mother. He thought of the child, Kane, his name, he believed, whom the entire village was made aware was the new jailer for the Kyuubi no Kitsune. He thought of the strange, spiral-shaped masked man he fought. He would find no sleep that night, rocking little Naruto all the way till the morn. Minato had been busy, very, very busy. The Kyuubi had caused so much death and destruction. The village still hadn't fully recovered from the damages alone, let alone from the loss of life. He knew the village hated Kane, the village despised him, and quickly Kane was becoming a scapegoat for those who mourned their lost loved ones. The fourth didn't want this. He wanted Kane to be hailed a hero, but he knew that this would happen to the child. He knew. That's why he felt bile in his throat. So much had happened in such a short amount of time. Not a minute went by without thoughts of Kushina. The Anbu he sent to gather information about both the attack and the spiral masked shinobi had come back with staggering information. The masked man was an Uchiha, or at least held the Sharingan, but Minato already knew that. He had fought him, after all. No, the terrible news came in the form of this. The masked man used his Sharingan to control the Nine Tails. He knew what this information would do. It would lead to the distrust of the rest of the village and the Uchiha. This he could not afford to let happen. The Uchiha were the police force. If villagers lost trust in them, it could spell bad news. So he hid the vital information from the rest of the world. He was reluctant to do this. What if the same masked man went after other Biju? He knew this information should be shared for the safety of others, especially other villages. In the end, he did what a Hokage should, and instead did what was best for Konoha. His wife was gone, his daughter was motherless. A powerful unknown Uchiha was able to control the Biju and was still out there somewhere. The village was still hurting. The child Kame was becoming a scapegoat, and he wasn't even a month old. The other villages were looking to take advantage of Konoha's moment of weakness, and trade and missions were suffering as a result. He missed Kushina. End of chapter 2. I just want to say thank you for listening if you made it to the end. It's chapter 2 of Bloodbag. We're going to be going. Thank you. I appreciate it for listening if you're here. See you guys on the next one.